home. Let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Home. Yes, I am home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Alabama, Arkansas, I do love my ma and pa. By the way, I do love you. Well, holy moly, me oh my, you're the apple of my eye. I've never loved someone like you. Well, man, oh man, you're my best friend. I scream it to the nothingness. There ain't nothing else I need. Home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Home, yes, I am home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Try that, home. Home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Home, yes, I am home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Well, moats and boats and waterfalls, alleyways and painful calls, I've been everywhere with you. I follow you into the park, through the jungle, through the dark. I've never loved one like you. We laugh until we think we die, barefoot on a summer night. Never could be sweeter than with you. And in the streets we're running free, like it's only you and me. You're really something to see. Home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Home, yes, I am home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Home, yes, I am home. Home is wherever I'm with you. La, 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 take me home. Mom, I'm coming home.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Are there any grown-ups who want to sit on the floor and really enjoy themselves? The message for the service this morning is about hospitality. And I think hospitality is a pretty cool thing. If you meet a stranger and you can make that stranger feel welcome, that's called hospitality. Anybody have any thoughts on some things you can do with other people to make them feel welcome and comfortable? If, for example, if you were to invite somebody to your home for the first time? How about, well, go ahead. What's your first name again? Lillian. Fire away, Lillian. What do you got? Give me a good idea. You forgot. Okay. Does your father forget things a lot too? Yeah. Yeah. He's like me. He's old. Well, I think one thing you can do is you can have something to eat, right? Sit down and have a meal together. You can talk and chat together. You could watch a movie on TV together. You know. Oh, wonderful. Tim Burton's masterpiece. Creepy movie, scares me sometimes. Another thing you could do is you can cook a meal together, right? Yeah. Well, you get help from mom and dad with that one. Mom's giving hints. What did mom suggest? Nothing. Okay. Thanks for all the help, Mom. But what's another thing you can do to help a person feel comfortable if you're meeting them for the first time? Any thoughts on that? Well, I have an idea. You can show them a card trick. Isn't that a great idea for making people feel welcome? Now, come on up. I want all of you to stand up here. See, I've got a regular deck. These are pinochle cards, but they work just as well as a regular deck of cards. All right, now watch closely, because there actually is a deeply profound moral lesson in this card trick. All right? Now, what's your first name? White? Jack. Okay, Jack, pick a card out of here. Take any one you want. Not that one. No, go ahead. I'm kidding. All right. Now, would you show it to your friends? All right. And you can show it to the people in the audience. I've got my eyes closed. All right. You got it memorized, Dwight? Or Jack? Okay. Put it right on top there. Okay. Now, watch closely. I'm going to shuffle these cards up. Do you think you know where it is? Do you? All right, I'm going to shuffle up a little bit here. These cards are kind of new and stiff. Now remember, there's a deeply profound moral message in this trick. All right? Now, I'm going to take the top half of the deck and put it there. Is that your card? No? I'm going to put that down there. I'm going to put this up here. Is that your card? You sure? Okay, I'm going to put that there. How about this one? Is this your card? Uh-oh, things aren't going right here, Jack. How about that one? That's card. You sure? Okay, I did the trick wrong. Can I do it one more time? You go for this time. Pick a card. Anyone. Not that one. Just kidding. I did it wrong. It's such a good trick, too. It's worth it. Okay. Okay, that's fine. You can show it to everybody. Okay. All right, it's the 9 of clubs. Put it right on top of the deck here. Lillian, you did a great job. You did a great job. Let's try it. Let's try it in case your dad might forget, right? All right, I'm just going to shuffle these up a little bit here, Lillian.
I'm only 5.
Okay, you're only 5? So that means I have to make the trick easy? Is that the card? No. Okay, I'm going to put that down. I'm going to put that there. How about that one? No. It's not? You sure? How about that? No. Okay. It's going better, folks. How about there? No. Okay. How about there?
Yeah.
That's not it. Oh, you know what the problem is? This is a pinochle deck. That's what's going wrong. Okay. Now watch this. Is this your card? Okay, I'm going to put that down there, okay? And how about that? Is that it? Okay. How about that one? No. Oh, geez, this pinochle deck is messing everything up. Okay. Make a fist. Like this. Okay, put it right there. Say abracadabra. There it is. It's a much more dramatic, the card's supposed to stay in there. Go to Sunday school. I'll have a better trick next week. Or next time. Nah. I never thought of that. This is a pinochle deck, so every card's duplicated, what, 4 times? All right. Thank you. The sermon's much better.
I want to save you. I want to save you from the pain. I want to help you. I want to help you feel the same again. I want to fix you. I want to fix your brokenness. I want to change it. I want to change it for the best. So listen to me now. I'm not gonna stand here when my friend's down and out. I'm not gonna run when it's hard to figure it all out. If there's anything I'd say, I will tell you right now. You're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. You're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. I wanna roll up, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves. I'm gonna fight for you. I'm gonna fight till I bleed. So listen to me now. I'm not gonna stand here when my friend's down and out. I'm not gonna run when it's hard to figure it all out. If there's anything I'd say, I will tell you right now. You're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. You're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. You're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. You're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. You're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. Not alone, not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. You're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. You're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone.
When Jim and I were discussing the theme for this month's services, and hospitality was one, an old terrible pun joke came to my mind. I'm going to share it with you. Did anybody ever hear the story of Randy Rattlesnake and Peter Python? They were best friends and loved to play together, and one day they were over at Peter Python's Python pit playing together, and for no reason that either one of them could come up with, Mrs. Python stuck her head out the door and said, Randy Rattlesnake, go home right now and don't come back. And Randy Rattlesnake cried and went home, and his mother said, Randy, why are you crying? And he said, well, Mrs. Python told me to leave and told me not to come back. He said, don't feel bad, son. I knew Mrs. Python before she had a pit to hiss in. I heard a groan. It was successful. Plato said, wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something. George Bernard Shaw said the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Epictetus said we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Alan Greenspan, and this does relate to hospitality, Alan Greenspan said, genius is the ability to put into effect what is on your mind. To succeed, you will soon learn, as I did, the importance of a solid foundation in the basics of education, literacy, verbal and numerical, and communication skills. Mark Twain wrote, it usually takes me more than 3 weeks to prepare a good impromptu speech. Effective communication, according to Jim Rohn, is 20% of what you know and 80% of how you feel about it and how you share that with the other person. Social media websites are no longer performing an envisaged function of creating a positive communication link among friends, families, and professionals. It's a veritable battleground where insults fly from the human quiver, damaging lives, destroying self-esteem and a person's sense of self-worth. That was written by Anthony Carmona. I think it's very important, said Elon Musk, very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. This opens the door to human relations. Winston Churchill, if you have an important point to make, don't try to be subtle or clever. Use a pile driver, hit the point once, then come back and hit it again, then hit it a third time, a tremendous whack. People will listen. And finally, Louis Gerstner said, it's about communication and honesty. It's about treating people as deserving to know the facts. You don't try to give them half the story. You don't try to hide the story. You treat them as true equals, and you communicate, and you communicate, and you communicate.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. In a world that keeps on pushing me around, yeah, I won't back down. Gonna stand my ground. I won't get turned around. And I'll keep these walls from crashing me down. Yeah, I'll stand my ground. And I won't back down. No, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. In a world that keeps on pushing me around, yeah, I'll stand my ground. And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I'll stand my ground. Won't get turned around. And I won't back down.
Namaste. Buenos días, ¿cómo está usted? Marhaba. Ohayo, konnichiwa. Annyeonghaseyo. Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Ni hao ma. Dzień dobry. Dobre wieczór. Buongiorno. Yasu tikanis. G'day, mate. Guten Tag, wie geht's es Ihnen? What did I just do? I greeted or said hello or asked how you are in 14 languages. I used to drive limousines, and I always did my best to welcome people in their native tongue if I thought they were from someplace other than the United States. Sometimes it didn't work out. Sometimes they looked at me like I was crazy, but every once in a while I'd guess right, and what a nice way to open up a shared experience. One of my most memorable experiences was I picked up a senior executive from a pharmaceutical company, and he and his wife were saying goodbye. They had very notable Middle Eastern accents, but they were wishing each other well, embracing one another, and speaking very fluent French. So when he got in the car, I'd never met him before, I said, "Did you grow up in French Morocco?" And he goes, "How the hell did you know that?" And I said, "Well, you're speaking fluent French, but you sound like you're from the Middle East. I don't think there are any other countries than French Morocco that have that combination of cultures." And he was impressed. I got a good tip on that one. I think the essence of hospitality is communication. It's making someone feel comfortable, such as greeting them in their own language. It's making somebody feel welcome, both physically welcome and spiritually or communicatively welcome. It's sharing the feeling that I really want to know what you have to say. It's not all that hard to get a conversation going with a stranger if the circumstances permit it. You can sometimes establish a pretty good friendship. Anybody ever see the movie Christmas Story? The little boy who wants the BB rifle? Okay. The narrator of that movie, the voice you hear in the background, is Gene Shepard, who wrote the short stories that screenplay is based on. My dad was with the Hamilton Watch Company when it was in its heyday. He worked in the executive offices in Rockefeller Center in New York City, and the chairman of the board and the president of the company called him in and said, "We're going to start advertising our new line of watches on Gene Shepard's radio show." He was on every evening at 10:15 on WOR AM, and he got on for 45 minutes and lied and told wonderful stories. He was an entertaining man. Well, he and Dad had lunch together and went over the script. Shepard ignored the script completely on the show that night. My father figured his career was over, but he talked about Hamilton watches for 20 minutes and referred to my father, a junior executive, as the president of the Hamilton Watch Company. But he gave the company 19 free minutes of airtime, so it kind of made my dad's career. But the bottom line is, based on that one lunch and their enjoyment of sharing stories about their childhoods and where they grew up, they became lifelong friends. And when my dad died at 84 years old, and most of his friends and acquaintances had long passed on, Gene Shepard called my brother's home and said, just wanted to pay my respects. And we still to this day have no idea how Shep found out that Dad had passed away or where my brother lived. It was very impressive. You'll all know that Janice and I think probably know, are very involved in an organization called Toastmasters, which is a club system, international, 235,000? 345,000 members in 149 countries. 145 countries. Janice is into detail. And the purpose of Toastmasters is to help people develop their communication and leadership skills. About 5 years ago, I read an article in the Toastmasters magazine written by a woman who was a member of a club in India. Sent her an email. If you're published in Toastmasters, they require you to provide an email address where people can reply to you. She and I, 5 years, 6 years later, still exchange hellos on the internet from time to time with emails. It's not so much that people don't want to communicate with each other and be hospitable to each other. It's unfortunate a lot of us don't know how to do that in a way that leaves the door open for conversation and the sharing of ideas. You know, with all of the remarkable opportunities that the internet and other modes of communication have given us, it never seemed, in the history of the world, I can see that people are so polarized. The you're with me or against me frame of mind permeates our culture, and not just here in the United States, worldwide. And I think Facebook is an example of simplistic, angry commentary you see so often on everything from politics to relations, race relations, and religion. In one posting, somebody had a photograph of Barack Obama, a statue of Barack Obama. And this was a response to the desire for some states to take down statues of Confederate heroes from the Civil War. And it said, Barack Obama purposely divided America. Erecting a statue to him is offensive. It should be torn down. Okay? And another posting on Facebook said, I don't watch CNN for the same reasons I don't drink out of the toilet. Well, that's not exactly what I would call a hospitable way to start a conversation. And it's a shame. Our thinking becomes simplistic, and we don't open any doors at all except the door of intolerance and hatred. Now, here's an essay, a quote from an essay on a alt-right website. And this was posted by one of Janice's sons, who lives out in Missouri, well, Janice's nephews, who lives out in Missouri. There's not one point in this commentary that is based on fact. Now, this is why we elected Donald J. Trump as 45th President of the United States of America last November. Although the mainstream media is largely silent on this matter, this morning the United States Supreme Court quietly and swiftly dealt the final blow to the Islamic indoctrination of our schools. And of course, we have President Trump to thank for this. The decision was a 5-4 ruling, which clearly illustrates just how important electing President Trump was and how crucial his pick of Judge Neil Gorsuch to the United States Supreme Court really was to the future of the nation. In his decision, Judge Gorsuch wrote that as the American government has no business being involved in religion, any religion, our founding fathers meant for only Judeo-Christian values to be taught in our schools, and that's the way it should remain. And lastly, he finished off his decision by stating that it's unfair to teach our children that Islam is a religion of peace, while all they see on TV is carnage out of nations which are known to have Islamic influences. Amen, Judge Gorsuch, amen. Okay, well, first of all, there was no such case before the Supreme Court any time in the past, recent or way past. Second of all, Neil Gorsuch never said those. He's very conservative. I wish they had selected somebody else, but he never said that. He never had a case like this to talk about, to rule on. Judeo-Christian ethics and Islamic ethics are virtually identical, almost identical. So if you teach one, you're fundamentally teaching the other. And yeah, I disagree. Islam is a religion of peace. So much for the hospitable sharing of ideas. I'm guilty, and I'll admit it, I'm guilty of posting cliched memes on Facebook myself from time to time. And a woman I went to high school with, who's comfortably retired and spends a lot of time on Facebook, goes to Snopes, S-N-O-P-E-S, and whenever I put a posting on that doesn't have a basis in fact, she says, "You might want to take this one down, Dave." I think I've had to take down a half a dozen. One of them was heartbreaking because it was a really cute story about a golden retriever that saved 300 people from the World Trade Center. Did anybody see that one? It's all a lot of nonsense. This dog broke its leg and still went in and led more people out. It's a complete myth, but that's a nice story. I wish that... With all these new pathways to human connections, why do we seem to be having such a hard time getting along with one another and understanding one another's concerns and interests? I think part of the problem is the instinct. You might be familiar with the concept of having an internal conflict, and your brain finds a way to resolve that conflict. It's part of the way we're made. We want to be comfortable. So it was always an astonishing example of this kind of internal dissonance. The mayor of Auschwitz, was Auschwitz in Poland, the concentration camp? Yeah. When he was forced to walk through the camp after it was liberated, his response to the horror that he saw was, these people must have committed horrible crimes to be treated like this. His mind, that's a real quote, his mind simply couldn't accept the idea that this was just pure, brutal murder of one group by another group simply because of their ethnic background or their religious background. So we have a tendency to want to hear things that we already believe. And unfortunately, I don't think our schools are doing a very good job of teaching us how to think critically and how to be self-aware of our predispositions, and that somebody else might have a different point of view and a good one. We're reinforcing our stereotypes, and it's hard to open the doors of hospitality to someone who fits a stereotype that makes us uncomfortable. So what steps can we take to keep ourselves flexible and willing to listen to others? The writer and sociologist Virginia Satir said, "Feelings of worth can flourish only in an atmosphere where individual differences are appreciated, not tolerated, but appreciated. Mistakes are tolerated, communication is open, rules are flexible, the kind of atmosphere that is found in a nurturing family." And that's why I like the theme of hospitality. My house is your house. Mi casa es su casa. If I live here, you are my brother and sister, you live here in my heart. The first point that she makes in this is that our efforts to communicate will frequently be an expression of differences, but the characteristics which makes us unique make us more valuable to one another. At the very least, a different perspective makes us more interesting. And if we have a good conversation, maybe we might learn something from one another. I heard a very, very liberal analyst make a comment and concede that some of the things that have been done in the White House in recent weeks might actually increase our leverage over North Korea in our negotiations with them, getting them off balance. And I have to admit, it was virtually impossible for me to think that thought myself. Help me out. What was the name of the woman who led the women's rights movements? She was a Playboy bunny. So, Gloria Steinem, thank you. She's really an impressive person. I can't say how many times I've read an essay or an interview by or with Gloria Steinem and had a whole new way of thinking brought to me. My life was enriched by someone who helped me get past my stereotype cliches of what human relations should be between men and women. These rules of communication should include the agreement that no matter how negative our feelings are, we sit and listen and listen affirmatively. Ask questions and make sure we understand the point the other person is making before we start to reply. I think a good example, everybody knows wind power is less prospectively damaging than nuclear or coal power. That's easy. But windmills can kill a large number of endangered species of birds. So it's not perfect. So somebody, I think, can legitimately argue against wind power or say we need to make some adjustments to overcome this problem because some species might be decimated to the point where they no longer exist. And I also have to say, I feel genuinely sorry for people who in good faith and with hope voted for Republicans or Donald Trump in particular because they felt that he was going to lift up the country. And I've got people who are sincerely disappointed in the way things are going, that feel very strongly that he's not being treated fairly by the mainstream media. But it's really kind of heartbreaking to see somebody's hero fall apart in their eyes. That's not a good thing. As much as some political positions might irritate and upset me, I try to be sympathetic to another person's perspective. And we have friends at the campground where we go to on the weekends who put a Trump sign in front of their trailer during the campaign. And I've actually been successful a couple of times in having a good, intelligent conversation with the husband of this couple about his feelings about why he voted for Trump and what he was hoping he would see, and how he feels that the Democrats are basically fighting him every step of the way. A hospitable soul knows how to listen. A hospitable soul has to welcome somebody else's ideas, no matter how offensive, and try to respond with courtesy and with kindness. Sater said, feelings of worth can flourish only in an atmosphere where individual differences are appreciated, mistakes are tolerated, communication is open, and rules are flexible. Where you find this is in a nurturing family, and that's my whole point today. We are family. Even if we have people who offend us, even if we have people who we dislike intensely, we are brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts and children of everybody else in the world. I don't know the theory behind 6 degrees of separation, but apparently it doesn't take very long to find some kind of common ancestry between all of us around the world. Our world is overcrowded. It is not well nourished in many areas. Education quality is terrible in large parts of the world, including in parts of the United States. If we can't keep the door of hospitality and tolerance open, we will fail. As a culture, we will fail at this time in civilization's history. It's not our job just to listen and consider other people's positions politely. It is to say, I'm glad you shared that with me. Thank you for enriching my life. Thank you for making me see a different perspective. Thank you for making me a better person for what you've told me. In that great scene at the early stage of the story, A Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge said to the ghost of Bob Marley, "You've always been a good man of business, Jacob Marley." And Jacob Marley's ghost screamed, "Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of business." So I offered you the thought that our responsibility is not just to establish connections and to communicate politely. Our job is to nurture, to feed the spirits of those with whom we connect, not just with thoughts and ideas, but with compassion, charity, with forbearance, with mercy, whenever our temperament allows us, with good humor. Communication is a lot more than just ideas well expressed. It's the feeling of sincerity and compassion and concern that we impart to the people we're communicating with. It's being a hospitable soul. When someone else believes that we're recognizing their humanity and their value as an individual human soul, whatever their ideas, we've made a connection and opened a line of communication that can preserve us all for the rest of our days and hopefully to pass along to our children. Thank you.